Welcome back to the thrilling, nay, exhilarating episode of Does Your Wealth Have Momentum? Today we're going to dive into two crucial aspects of wealth transfer: communication and transparency. First, communication. Remember, it's not just about what you say, but how and when you say it. Communication sits at the heart of successful wealth management. It's about creating harmony among heirs, a topic that surprisingly can be more complex than deciding who gets grandma's antique face. As my grandfather, who was a financial advisor as well, would always say, where there's a will, there's a fight. And this is a crucial piece to the communication aspect. I remember having a meeting one time, and she just was hard to communicate about what she wanted to happen. And the kids were all in the room with us, and her eyes, and oh, that sounds good. And just finally, we got the kids out of the room, and she looked at me, she said, I just want my kids to get along. I can't believe this money is causing so many problems. And that's a primary concern for most. So you want to get well ahead of this and be having conversations so that you're not leaving as much disharmony after you're gone. And why is communication so critical? Imagine playing a family game of telephone, but you're using your actual wealth. Misunderstandings can be costly, and it's not just because you wind up with the answer of purple elephant, instead of tax plan. Discussing wealth isn't just a logistical necessity. It's a way to ensure everyone understands and respects the family's financial goals and challenges. It's like syncing calendars, except it is done with your financial futures you're aligning. One of the other really important discussion points that comes up, and there's no right or wrong answer, but it's something that you need to process, is the difference between fair and equal. And that's a common point of matriarch or patriarch of the family talking about is, I want things to be fair, or do you want them to be equal? And so many times that next generation enters into that conversation with some type of predisposition, and their sense of fair and equal isn't the same. Now, that doesn't mean the parent has to change their attitude, but it needs to be communicated clearly ahead of time. Sometimes, a lot of times, more than once. And here's the second aspect we want to cover today, and it's transparency. And this is the linchpin. It's about being open about your financial plans. And it may be as startling as saying you're a vegan at Thanksgiving dinner, but trust me, this is more important. So how do you begin these conversations? Start at the basics. Start these conversations early and start them often. Discussing monthly budgets or annual donations for charitable efforts can be a great icebreaker and can get a conversation going. Also, be aware of your audience. For instance, educating your children or grandchildren about the basics of money has its greatest impact when the kids are between the ages of 7 and 13. So, are you having appropriate conversations with your family at the right time? So, make this a habit. Regularly talking about money can turn it from a taboo subject into a typical Tuesday night discussion. Consistency is the key. Just like favorite TV show, keep the episodes coming. So talk about it often and talk about it frequently and repetitively, age-appropriate wise. Don't know where to start? Look for guidance. There are resources out there that make broaching the subject much easier. If you'd like to click through to our website, we'll leave some resources there for you. Because when you're in doubt, it's okay to bring in professionals. Sometimes you need a conductor to orchestrate the perfect symphony, and wealth management is no different. Remember, the goal here isn't just to pass on wealth, but to pass on the wisdom of owning it. And don't forget to communicate with us, too.